power, and presumably we know a lot more about nuclear power in the world of Godzilla because we can manage more nuclear problems than we could before. We've been studying Godzilla, but the best Godzilla movies also hinge on the idea of Godzilla cells, the utilization of Godzilla's unique biochemistry for biosciences. So functionally, yeah, but living in the world of Godzilla, we had some fucking super tech that doesn't exist in reality, unless you're saying Big Godzilla.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of the Monarch series, isn't it?
No, I thought the whole point of the Monarch series was we have this property and we need to make some money off of it. Can we pay Charles Dance to demean himself?
Welcome to the show, everybody. I figured when Joe started talking about Big Godzilla, that was the perfect opening.
I would say Big Godzilla is a good opening for a lot of things.
It's true. It's true. So we're gonna do an end of the year
We
show.
we need Ayrton here because he needs to. I want to hear him, Alex Jones, about Big Godzilla.
I
The
think
thing you gotta
everyone can.
understand is Godzilla's real and he's out there, and it's a
I
plot.
mean,
It's a Japanese plot.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So
I'm I'm not as good as Ayrton, but okay.
I want to start a little bit, and I want to look forward into the future, and we'll talk a little bit about the things we might talk about on the show in the future. So the first movie that comes up on my radar is Greenland 2, The Migration. Now, I know what you're saying. Was Greenland 1? So, 5 years after the Clark interstellar comet destroyed most of Earth, the Garrity family must leave the safety of the Greenland bunker and embark on a perilous journey across the wasteland of Europe to find a new home. Doesn't that sound like a fun movie
It
starring Gerard Butler?
it sounds like Swiss Family Robinson done badly.
And Inara from Firefly is going to be married to Gerard Butler.
I mean, there are women for whom that was an aspiration. So I mean, I get it.
And the kid from Jojo Rabbit's their kid. That's probably going to be the first movie I'm going to subject everybody to. And I think it's good that Ayrton and Church aren't here to hear about this. Now, there's a movie called Sleepwalker, which I'm pretty sure is not related to the Marvel comic character.
Is it related to the Stephen King story?
It is not. It is not.
Okay, that's a deep cut. Most people have memory hold that movie existed.
Yeah. So that's out. Let's see here. Of course, there's 28 years later, The Bone Temple, a sequel to a sequel to a sequel.
Subtitle: 28 years later, the quest for more money.
Yeah, yeah. And I didn't see the 28 years later because I just like going, that doesn't make any sense. I'm out. Uh,
It does if you're retarded.
hmm, hmm.
So, do you recall the summation of the plot of 28 Days Later?
Yes.
Right. Um, all the zombies were actually humans that were just infected. They were not zombies. The writers of the film were very explicit on this, and because they were actual humans, they starved to death. They died because they didn't eat all the food that was everywhere because they only existed to kill. 28 weeks later picks up from that and is a rancid piece of shit. I don't want to get into the particulars of how they fucked up that story, but the end of the film is the zombies escaping England via the Channel and invading France, and the idea that the disease has gotten global. right?
Mhm.
And we'll still say that doesn't quite work because logically,
That going in the channel would have been the first things they would have done.
well, not just that, but if the disease got into Europe, absolutely, it's going to get into all parts of Eurasia, but it's not going to get into Africa, and it's not going to get into South America, and it's not going to get into America because it's at a certain point, nations on border areas will just start killing people who try to come over.
Mhm.
So
And I
it
mean,
would.
The Balkans, that's something they like to do for fun.
Right. A lot of this presumes things like, well, the zombies will just travel. It's like, okay, the zombies can't cross the Sahara because the zombies don't drive. So the zombies will die of thirst in a week before they ever get to sub-Saharan Africa.
Mhm.
Right? But with that in mind, 28 years later as a concept doesn't bother me. You want to revisit the world that has been devastated by a zombie apocalypse. You want to posit that the zombies have died back to a level where a more primitive human society is starting to rebuild. You want to posit that there are pockets of zombos out there. I'm open to that. I could explore that. I'm interested in zombie Mad Max. They didn't do that. We know they didn't do that because the
Mhm.
primary threat of a zombie movie is there have to be a bunch of zombies, right?
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, it was 28 years later. It's still the same time period, but it's about the Bone Temple. It's like, okay, don't care because you're what's your next thing? Okay, if this is 28 years, what's the next one? 28 decades, 28 centuries,
I mean, a zombie
28
apocalypse movie.
millennia.
Hold up. A zombie apocalypse movie set in the future, where we somehow advance to the future while dealing with zombies. That could be interesting.
No, we were officially told that's not interesting. Nobody wants to see that because that's the plot to Star Trek: First Contact.
Uh, Now, it looks like January 23rd, the third movie in the Silent Hill sequel will be the adaptation of the second Silent Hill video game, which I like because I have very fond memories of in my college room watching my roommate play the movie portions of the game, the animatics and all that, and we laughed how stupid the game was. My dead wife sent me a letter, but she's dead, but she told me to come meet her in Silent Hill. So I'm going to Silent Hill. It's like, what? Then later you find out, oh yeah, I told the nurse to hit the Canadian healthcare button. It's like, yeah, that's not right. That's not right at all. Uh, there is something interesting that's coming up. You know how um, we talked about Chris Stuckman doing his first horror movie? Markiplier has a horror movie.
Yeah, Iron Lung.
Yeah. So I'm I'm interested to see how this YouTuber does it. I have stronger feelings that Markiplier's movie is going to be good,
Oh yeah. Um,
even though I
my
don't like horror movies.
yeah. My thing about Silent Hill and Resident Evil is that as video games, as experiential objects, they're probably pretty good. I can understand getting spooked and enjoying the games. I can understand your perspective of you enjoyed Silent Hill in its cheesy badness as a passive observer,
Hmm.
right? I will never be one of the rabid fanboys that's just like because the fact of the matter is I hate to tell you guys, the game sucks. What? It's like the game itself might be fine, but your lore, your Dark Souls level lore, where you're gonna dive in super deep and talk about He was actually evil and in Silent Hill and crazy the whole time. Yeah, this is creepypasta level lame. I
Mhm.
read this shit on the internet all the time. Your story's bad. It's not spooky. It's not good. And quite frankly, while I am eager to see what Markiplier can do, and I wish him well, I am a fan of the Markiplier. At the same time, uh, I I I didn't watch him play Iron Lung specifically, but I am aware of how much of a fan of Iron Lung he is. Right? Um, I cannot divest myself of the feeling that this movie is basically a meme.
I mean, yeah, I think that's the whole production funding model. Now, here's a movie I actually think is probably going to be good. Good luck, have fun, don't tie. Premise: a man from the future travels to the past and recruits the patrons of a Los Angeles diner he arrives in to help combat a rogue artificial intelligence. I mean, that sounds like it's probably a good way to spend 2 hours of your life.
I mean, my brain immediately wants to say, so it's Terminator in a diner because we're gonna recruit the diner people
Actually,
to fight Skynet.
actually, there was some B movie I saw somebody do a review on. Um, completely, completely forgetting the name of it, which is all about a man who gets told by accident that the nukes are about to go flying,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a whole romance thing where he's trying to get to this girl that he fell in love with just before he found out the birds were going to fly and all that. And it feels kind of like that kind of a movie, just
Mm.
with time travel shenanigans. So that's something I think I can look forward to.
Mm.
Uh, let's see here. I'm just looking through here for the next thing, the note that stands out. Scream 7. That sounds awful.
Yes. The Scream franchise has outlived its director. It has outlived the joke. It is the series that refuses to die.
There was Hoppers, which we already talked about on the show, and it looks like it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Then we have The Bride of Frankenstein being redone. It's being co-produced and directed by Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, I think. Christian Bale's going to be in it. Maybe Annette Bening, maybe Penelope Cruz is going to be the Bride of Frankenstein. So I think that could be interesting. We haven't seen a Bride of Frankenstein in a while. Not kind of the terrible one that James Gunn made from a DC Comics character.
Yeah.
So I think that's
I
something else
I
to maybe look forward to.
I don't know, just because I have been hearing a lot of buzz about an AstroTurf. People trying to postulate that what we desperately need is a movie, basically trying to bring back a dead development hell film. People are like, I really want to see Dracula from the perspective of Mina Harker because she's such a deeper and meaningful character, and it's like, no, she's really fucking not.
Well, it depends. Are we talking about novel Mina Harker?
They're trying to posit that Mina Harker is a meaningful character and that she's just never been presented properly in film
Well, I mean,
because
she
there are
has.
many right because there are many bad film Mina Harkers. But I hate to tell people, if your starting place is the best version of Mina Harker was the one in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, and you're talking about the film and not the comic, the comic where she's not a vampire, you're already full of shit.
I mean, The best version's in Bram Stoker's book.
Right. Just do the book. And if somebody says,
Do-
but we did Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's like, right. We've done several versions of Bram Stoker's Dracula. Maybe the actual answer is we don't need Dracula from Mina Harker's perspective. Maybe the actual answer is let the Count fucking rest rather than piss on his corpse for another month.
So, you remember The Martian?
Vaguely. Under
Our hearts,
under duress.
a hard sci-fi book about a man having to escape Mars.
Yeah.
Well, the author made a sequel book, and that one went straight into development. Astronaut Ryland Grace awakens to join a spacecraft with no memory of himself or his mission. He slowly deduces he's the sole survivor of a crew sent to Tau Ceti solar system in search of a solution to a catastrophic event on Earth. In his search for answers, Grace must rely on a vast array of scientific knowledge, sheer ingenuity, and human will, but he may or not have to search alone.
I don't care if it's a book. This aggravates me.
The tagline?
Yeah. Do you know why it aggravates me?
No.
You just described the plot of Die Hard 2. I love me some Die Hard, don't get me wrong. I even like Die Hard 2. But the basic tagline of Die Hard 2 is literally, did you like Die Hard 1? What if it happened again to the same guy?
Well, no. This is a different guy. The first one was Matt Damon. This one's Ryan Gosling.
Is it supposed to be the same character?
No.
Okay. I mean, it's not better because the plots are very similar, but it sounds very samey.
So the plot of the book.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. If he encounters another person in space, if it's now the Martian, but he has someone else with him, I have to ask the natural question: how is it not enemy mine?
Well, I mean, depends what you mean by person, because it's going to be an alien.
Right. So how is it not enemy mine?
So the basic engine of the plot is there's a species that noms on stars, and there seems to be a solution to that problem in Tau Ceti. So we have to deal with the fact that our sun is infested with parasites and termites. And he's on a deep space mission when basically humanity slapped things together saying, listen, we don't really have time to properly test everything, but we're sure enough that you're not going to die and you have a chance to save the world. So, do you remember Ready or Not?
Yeah.
That was a kind of okay movie. But what if we do Ready or Not, but with her sister this time, as well as her? Ready or Not 2, Here I Come, also subtitled Double or Nothing. So because she defeated one eccentric family of people with a games business, there's a whole bunch of other ones, and it's murdering time again.
I wish to state again, you just described Die Hard 2.
Well, I mean, Die Hard 2 is all about the South American dictator.
Right, but it's what if there was a Die Hard in an airport terminal and it happened to the same guy?
I mean, it's a different conspiracy of rich weirdos. Now, in April, we get the sequel to the Super Mario movie, the Super Mario Galaxy movie.
Which, frankly, I haven't heard a lot of bad things about it, but I've heard multiple people go, "Why are they doing Galaxy and not one of the other games?" And I don't have a solid answer for that question, actually.
You remember how Brendan Fraser is talking about, hey, I'm going to make a sequel to my Mummy series.
Oh, we wish.
Well, no, he is. It's in production.
I mean, I want it. I am there for it.
But you know what Warner Brothers said? Hey, don't we have a Mummy movie that we can very rapidly scale up a sequel to?
They're not gonna do the the fucking Dark Universe Mummy, are they?
No,
Oh,
they
thank
already
God.
did that movie. That was terrible.
Right, but I'm saying they're not gonna revisit it. They're not gonna try again.
No, they're going to have Blumhouse make it.
Okay.
And it's going to be a remake of the Hammer Mummy movie.
I mean, I like the Hammer movies. I don't think they understand why we like Hammer movies, but I get it.
So this, by the way, is taking us into our story in April. Now, when we get into May, we have The Devil Wears Prada 2, that horrific Animal Farm movie that just terrible and makes me feel bad. Mortal Kombat 2.
Is that the one with Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage?
It is.
Right.
It is.
That one actually looks like it might be halfway decent.
And a movie that I got to make a lot of fun with some British people, The Sheep Detectives.
I've not heard about that one.
So it's about a murder mystery of Hugh Jackman, shepherd, who gets murdered, and his sheep have to figure out who killed him.
Is it a Shaun the Sheep movie?
It is not.
Oh, okay. That's not a criticism. That was just like, I've not heard about this, and I do like Shaun the Sheep.
And May the 22nd, we get Star Wars: The Mandalorian and product placement, the movie.
Oh, you do not always put down a nuclear jab, Larry, but when you do, it is very well placed.
I mean, I gave up on The Mandalorian a long time ago.
So when Mandalorian season 1, I was okay with Baby Yoda. I understood Baby Yoda was exactly what Baby Yoda was supposed to be. Yes, it's product placement. Yes, it's for the kids. But this story was halfway decent, right? And going into Mando season 2, I was down with what it was putting down as a story. Okay. I'm not saying they should have stopped the Mandalorian, but they really should have stopped that story when the Baby Yoda left the Mandalorian to go be a Jedi. Right?
But think about the products.
Right, and that's the thing, is that's when it stops being the Baby Yoda. I don't care that they call it Grogu, it's Baby Yoda, and it became the product. Right? That's also when they did the Boba Fett series, and that was a fucking tire fire. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Mandalorian has just, like, I have no drive to come see more Mandalorian. And then that was when what's his name made the worst decision possible. He took off the helmet, and I don't mean he took off the helmet in the show. I mean he took off the helmet in real life and decided, you know what I'm going to do? I am going to overexpose myself in every product by running my fucking mouth.
Yeah. Now, first part of June next year, we're going to get the Masters of the Universe live action movie. Would you like to hear how they're going to ruin the Masters of the Universe?
I mean, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. It has no Kevin Smith associations, right?
Not that I know of.
I mean, that's already a head up. They're already doing better.
Yeah, he's not listed as one of the producers or one of the writers.
Okay.
So that is a positive. Let me read the premise. 10-year-old Adam Glenn crash lands on his mother's home planet, Earth, separating him from his ancestor's power sword of Grayskull. 2 decades later, he takes his sword back and bears on the mantle of He-Man as he battles for his home planet Eternia against the evil forces of Skeletor. That's right, they're making He-Man a reverse isekai.
I can't fault them.
I mean, what if, and I'm just spitballing here, what if
Sure.
you just adapt He-Man straight?
Oh, I mean, that would be the smart money. That would be the smart money. But I want to be honest with myself here. Let's be serious. Who amongst us remembers the canon film was Masters of the Universe film?
Which also wasn't adapting He-Man straight.
Right. And also involved going to Earth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's good that they did it. I'm saying it's not the first time it's happened.
And it wasn't good the first time it happened.
It was not. But then when you say, well, Hollywood's fucking up Masters of the Universe, it's like, yeah, well, they've done it before. That's not a surprise.
So here's the thing.
It just means that the best Masters of the Universe film we ever got was Beastmaster 2.
And here is the terrible thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of deep lore that 99% of the Masters of the Universe adaptations didn't use. You know, the only Masters of the Universe adaptation that made any effort to use most of it was the fucking Kevin Smith thing. And he used it wrong.
Right. That's because there's actually a better Masters of the Universe that actually tried to use the lore, which was the 2000s era cartoon on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
That one points out, as a for instance, that King Randor, right, you know, He-Man's father, or rather Prince Adam's father, is actually a human space captain who crash landed on Eternia. He was
his mom
Captain Randor.
It was his mom who actually was the one who crashed in the original lore.
Right, but the important part is that the humans are essentially foreign transplants. This means you could put Masters of the Universe in Warhammer 40K and no one would notice a difference.
I mean, that does make sense. So we have
the reason I say this is because that means that if you treat Masters of the Universe like a science fiction with fantasy elements, if you treat it like a Star Wars, it works. It oddly enough works better than what they're doing with it. The reason that it is bizarre and funky is because the people making it don't understand what it is, and they don't want to because they think it's nerd shit. They think they're better than He-Man, and I'm not saying He-Man is good or special or sacred. He-Man is a toy commercial, right? But it's not. It shouldn't be hard to do a He-Man.
So also in June we have that Steven Spielberg Aliens movie we talked about. We have Scary Movie 6. We have Toy Story 5, which we also talked about. And we have Supergirl, based on the Tom King comic that sucks. Because Tom King sucks.
Yeah.
And it's all about Supergirl being a drunk, lewd anti-hero. And I have to say,
remember, Superman sees people as he wants them to be, or as they could be. Supergirl sees them as they are. You have to remember that. It's very, very important.
That's some cope.
That is some serious fucking cope, but it's cope they actually put in the movie.
But in July, we have some interesting cinema. We have Minions 3. We have the Moana live-action movie, which is going to be bad because it's a Disney live-action movie.
I mean the most basic, almost universal response I have seen on this subject is, why are we doing another one? You just made this.
Well, that was Moana 2.
No, I'm saying that is the response people are making to the live action one. Is wait a minute, isn't the last Moana less than 5 years old? It's like, yeah.
Then we have The Odyssey, done by Christopher Nolan, which I have lots of problems with, but it's Christopher Nolan,
Okay,
so
look,
he's earned at
look.
least.
Have you seen the AI joke?
No, what's the AI joke about it?
Okay, so Chris Nolan put out or rather not him, but the production company put out the trailer. The trailer has Agamemnon looking like fucking Greek Vader, right? Nobody likes it.
Hmm?
And so somebody using AI, 3 million
Put them in
hours in
period.
paint, yeah, put them in period appropriate armor, which, mind you, still looks stupid, but looks head and shoulders better than what Nolan wants to do with it.
Hmm? So we have the end of July. We have the new Spider-Man movie, which is the part of Phase 6, which we uh, we stopped caring about that a long time ago.
I mean,
And
I'm going to mention it because we actually were having trouble identifying when it was dropping out. At some point soon here, if you recall, they're putting out the Wonder Man, and they've decided to shit can it as hard as they can. They're
oh,
going
we're
to
we're
put it out all at once.
we're gonna be talking about that when we get to TV. So in this
Okay.
Spider-Man movie, we got the Punisher. We got the Hulk. We have the Scorpion from the first Spider-Man movie. We introduced Tombstone, and Daredevil's supposed to be in there.
This feels very front loaded. Are they sure they can actually support all these characters?
Um, yes, but no.
See, I don't know if you recall this, Larry. I might be being too deep lore for our audience, but you see, once upon a time in 1989, there was a film called Batman.
Mm, mm,
Okay,
mm.
and if you recall, in 1992, there was a film called Batman Returns, which had two villains, which was shocking at the time. It's like, oh shit,
Yes.
a superhero film with two villains. So then they did a film called Batman Forever with uh Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face, and it's not a very good Two-Face, but it's still Tommy Lee Jones. And that had two villains. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, we could do this. And then a guy named Joel Schumacher decided, hey, what if I tried to hint to people that I might have closeted homosexual tendencies if I did a another Batman film with George Clooney, um, but I put nipples on the bat suit and we called it Batman and Robin. And then they said, okay, well, how many villains are you going to have and which villains? And he said, well, I want to get Arnold to be Mr. Freeze. And everyone went, oh, that is ideal casting. And Arnold was like, I'd love to be Mr. Freeze. I want to be a supervillain. I'm down. And then he said, okay, and I want to get Uma Thurman to be Poison Ivy because she gives me a boner. And Uma Thurman was like, can I play Poison Ivy like someone who doesn't think she's hot because I want to make a feminist statement? And they said, yeah, we can let that slide. And then he said, okay, and I want to add Bane. And they said, okay, well, what's the story for Bane? And he said, I don't know, we'll just get some wrestler guy to grumble. And so they did. And they had three villains in one movie, and it was too many, and it was a giant, giant piece of shit.
No, Joe, don't forget, we had Batman, we had
Right,
Robin,
right,
and we introduced Batgirl.
right. Because 6 characters in one 2-hour film, we can do it. And then
Well,
you couldn't.
also in Spider-Man, we're also going to have Zendaya MJ again.
Right.
Because I'm
Well,
pretty sure
well,
Tom Holland has a
well,
writer that his girlfriend has to get a job in any movie
well,
he's in anymore.
well, you see, that's the thing is that then that brings us to Spider-Man, because first we had Spider-Man 1. Everyone was like, I don't know, man. Those Bat films failed pretty hard. They're like, no. This is Sam Raimi. He's a weird auteur who made those superhero Darkman movies. And it's like, okay, we'll let him make a Spider-Man movie. And they were like, okay, what do you want to do? It's like, I want to do the Green Goblin, and I got Willem Dafoe. Oh shit, Willem Dafoe? Okay, sure. Spider-Man and the Green Goblin, go. And it made $1 million. Made $1 billion. I'm like, wow, this is really good. And they said, okay, what do you want to do next, Sam? It's like, I want to do Doc Ock, and I wanna seed the ground for Green Goblin 2. And they said, oh, cool, okay, all right. So then they got Tom Maguire and they got Molina, and they did Doc Ock, and it was even better. Right now Harry Osborn was an antagonist, but he was a background antagonist. He was a secondary antagonist, which means that the villain was still Doc Ock, and everybody was down. And then they said, okay, we're gonna do a Spider-Man 3. And they said, what do you want to do, Sam Raimi? And Sam Raimi said, well, I want to do Sandman and Green Goblin. And they said, okay, cool. And then some idiot said, can you do a Venom? And he was like, well, I don't really like Venom, and I've already got 2 villains in this movie. And they said, yeah, but we want to build a villain verse, so you got to do a Venom movie. And it's like, I really don't want to do a Venom movie, guys. I don't like this character. And they said, you're going to do a Venom movie. So they had Sam Raimi do the Sandman and Harry Osborn and Venom in one movie. And they got Topher Grace to be a comics accurate Eddie Brock, and it sucked.
Yeah.
Because 3 villains was too many.
Yeah.
And then we jump forward again, because oddly enough, this just keeps spiraling. And we have, okay, we got Spider-Man No Way Home. Okay, what are we doing? It's like, all right, we're gonna have. I'm sorry, what?
The Vulture.
Right. Was that No Way Home or was that Homecoming? That was Homecoming.
That was Homecoming.
Homecoming was the Vulture, but it was one dude and it worked. And then they said, okay,
No
we're
Way
gonna
Home
do
was Mysterio, which was one dude.
And it worked. And then they said, okay, No Way Home, we're gonna have we're gonna pull together all of these Spider-Men. It's like, all right, that's risky. All the Spider-Men, all right. And we're gonna have multiple villains from all of their movies. It's like,
Not
all
just
right,
multiple villains. It's Albert Molina and Willem Dafoe, who I personally believe the internet meme version of, like, they didn't even plan to have him in the movie. He just showed up one day.
He just showed up in costume. Yeah. But here's the thing: they had the guy who played Sandman. They had the guy who played. They had the English guy who played Kurt Connors. They had Jamie Foxx being not Matt Dillon, because that version of Electro is not Electro. Fight me. But they understood. Somehow, somebody in the writing room said, look, no matter how antagonistic all of these characters are, your focus is really got to be on the parental relationship between Doc Ock and Peter Parker, and Peter Parker and Norman Osborn, because both of them are science men, and both of them are reflections of a parental bond, because Norman is the abusive parent that could have been Peter's, but had Harry, and Doc Ock is being presented as this patronly, positive mentor, right? And they said, yeah, we'll emphasize that relationship juxtaposed against these 3 different versions of Spider-Man. So they understood that this was about life choices. There was a theme. They had a theme in it. They said, we can work with this and make a theme. And it was a halfway decent fucking mid movie. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't great. It was very mid.
The movie mostly worked on the fact that Toby, Tom, and Andrew were all bros together.
Right, they were all bros. You had Willem Dafoe doing his best Willem Dafoe, and you had Molina was doing, he knew where to stand, he knew what to say. Jamie Foxx didn't have to labor under the terrible fucking writing of The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And the other actors are well-paid character actors. They know how to do their job, right? And they had Benedict Cumberbatch being Doc Strange and not fucking up. On every level, this was a halfway decent film, right?
It shouldn't have worked, but it did.
It shouldn't, but it did. And the important thing is that it still proves the point. Out of all of these villains, because they basically had 5 villains, because the Vulture didn't get out of jail, if you recall, right? out of these 5 villains, 3 of them took a back seat, and only 2 of them were primary antagonists. And out
really,
of
of
those
those
2,
two,
one of
only
them was the
one.
actual villain. Yeah,
Yeah.
they understood the homework for how to balance a movie. Because then we look at this, and you're telling me there are how many villains and antagonists?
Well, there's 2 named villains, and there's rumors of a third or a fourth.
Well, all right. So let me come at this from another angle. You say you want to have a Spider-Man Daredevil film, and you're actually going to have the TV actor for Daredevil be in the film because he's
He's
available.
only
He'll
going to do
do
a
it.
cameo.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, you could do a Spider-Man Daredevil film. I'm down. Okay. You say you want to have a Spider-Man Punisher film. Now, Spider-Man and the Punisher have worked together in the past, but the fact of the matter is, the Punisher is a Spider-Man antagonist. He was introduced as a Spider-Man antagonist. They have a moral, ethical difference. They do not get along. They are not friends.
Correct.
Right? And then you say, oh, by the way, we're also going to have the Scorpion and Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And you're going to have who else?
There's rumors that they're going to introduce the Negative Man. And there are rumors that they may introduce Doc Connors.
Right.
Although most people say they're going to have Bruce Banner be Doc Connors.
Are these the same people that say that the primary antagonist of the Spider-Man film was going to be the Hulk?
Yes. Which likely means that they were trying to splice together the DNA of the Lizard and the Hulk for the movie.
But why, though? Why the fuck would anyone do that?
Because they have a very shitty agreement with Universal on using the Hulkin properties.
See, this is worse because the pieces for a good film are there. We're not going to get them. And
Correct.
I'm not saying the pieces that they've already put out there. I'm saying the pieces that they've already abused. Right? They introduced the Life Foundation in the Venom film, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Life Foundation has been grievously abused because they did separation anxiety for shit. Why? So they could introduce Null. Nobody gives a shit about Null. Nobody gives a shit about Cosmic Venom. That shit's garbage. But what does this mean? Well, this means that we won't get the new Man Spider. We won't get the antagonist. What is it? Fucking Arachnid is his name, I think. The 6-armed spider monster that is actually the head of the Life Foundation. That is a Spider-Man villain. We obviously won't get the Punisher doing a punishing, right? We won't get the Scorpion being the Scorpion and actually a threat. We're not going to get Tombstone being Tombstone. We're also not going to get Hammerhead, right?
Also,
we're not going to get Kurt Connors being Kurt Connors. And they've already ruined Kane because they decided to make Kane into Gorland for the Silk Spider film that nobody fucking watched because somebody felt that female empowerment was better than a good Spider series.
No, that doesn't count in the Marvel movies.
Right, because they're going to pretend it didn't exist.
Right, that's only in the Sony movies, which is a different continuity, so it's fine.
Right, but the thing is that those terms, those concepts have been devalued. So if we did use things that only Disney has, like Spider-Man 2099, people think that Miguel O'Hara is a villain because he was an antagonist in a terrible animated feature to prop up Ultimate Spider-Man because Miles Morales needs to exist.
So let's move along. We don't want to get way laid down. So they're doing the Super Troopers sequel.
I mean, the quest for more money, sure.
You remember all the controversy over Coyote versus Acme and how it got canceled?
Yeah, are they unshelving it because they need money?
They sold the rights to another production company to distribute it.
Woo! It might actually be good, even though the jokes are all going to be wildly dated.
And when we roll into September, we get to see the Clayface movie. Why there's a Clayface movie, I don't know.
I mean, this actually makes me sad. So, there was a Batman animated series recently trying to focus on lesser known characters. It did some interesting things. It did some absolutely shit things, but it had a Clayface episode. And in that Clayface episode, they made a nod that only hyper nerds like me would notice. Basil Carlo, who is of course himself already a joke about Boris Karloff,
Yes.
is dressed in a black suit with a slouch hat and a red scarf, like the
Mhm.
Shadow,
Yes.
implying that he was basically the actor who played the Shadow in the black and white films from the 30s.
Mhm.
And it was a pretty shit episode. And then, of course, in the Batman the Animated Series, we had the introduction of Clayface, which was a tragedy, and we had the two-parter, which I believe was called Feet of Clay, in which Clayface fucking died. I know that there's a Batman Animated Adventures episode half-see later where Clayface is reconstituted, but the fact of the matter is like, no, I 100% believe that story ended when the actor whose name falls at the back of my head was falling apart, and Batman could not pull him together to get him back to the cliff face, and he just dispersed in the ocean. Okay, we've had excellent Clayface stories. Whatever this is, especially in comparison to how they have defamed Clayface as a character in the Harley and Ivy gay animated series, right? The Harley Quinn's bowel movement show. Um, it's not going to live up, and it's not going to live up because basically superhero media is in the child animation ghetto. We are never going to get a superhero horror film. Not a good one.
I mean, Joe, we weren't getting superhero horror films all the time. Just not intentional horror.
How dare you say something so hurtful and true? I'm just saying, if you actually made, okay, because it's not going to happen, so let's talk about it. If you made you want to make a Batman film, you want to emphasize Batman as the detective, okay?
I mean,
And
why not make a Man-Bat film
I mean, I'd love a Man-Bat film,
and
but I'm
do Man-Bat as
saying,
Dr. Jekyll?
but I'm saying, let's use the pieces we got. You're gonna do a Clayface movie. You're gonna use Batman. You do a Batman film where there's a serial killer. There's someone who is suffocating people with
Mhm.
clay, right? And leaving death masks behind, which is a nice sort of nod to Mask of the Red Death from Poe and the Phantom of the Opera, right? You have Batman do a Batmaning, show off that he actually has vast detective skills that do not hinge on a bat computer, right? And say it only works if a dead actor is somehow alive, right?
Mhm.
And then when he encounters Clayface, you reveal in the most dramatic, horrific fashion of what Clayface has become, right? And you lean into the story. You use all the bits of the story, right? How he was committing crimes, how he was in deep to the mob and to criminals, how they attempted to murder him with chemicals, right? Just make it dark, make it vile, and then contrast it with the fundamental humanity that Clayface would basically not be a piece of shit if not for the horrific conditions of his situation, right? Because then you could maybe do something weird like, show the good guys being good guys and having empathy for someone in a bad situation. He's still going to go to jail. But, maybe it's like we'll put him to jail and we'll try to help him find a cure to his condition. we have to heal him, right? And it's like, well, do we kill Clayface? Like, no, you could actually just send him to jail. He doesn't
Yeah.
have to die. Then you could reuse the character in a subsequent film.
You can make an intelligent decision.
And hey, in this hypothetical Clayface reinterpretation, I will use a Marveldom better. Okay? See, we're talking about possibly in this potential Spider film, they're going to try and hybridize the lizard DNA with the Hulk DNA. And I said, but why though? Right? Because that doesn't make any sense. Right? You're going to do a series of Batman horror films starting with Clayface. Okay, Clayface is in jail. How do you then do a Man Bat film? Because the scientist who is studying bats is also working on the blood work on Clayface, and his revolutionary genetic alteration idea hinges on the uncertainty that exists in Clayface's genetic structure because it's been altered by becoming Clayface. And that's how he became a Man Bat.
Mm-hmm.
Boom! Now you have one good movie building off of another good movie in some kind of sequential series of films. I don't know what you might call it, like a cinematic galaxy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, cinematic galaxy. Yeah, no one's ever talked about this before.
So, also in the month of September,
Okay.
we get a Resident Evil reboot.
By the way, can I just throw this out there? Why the fuck is Clayface coming out in September? October, people. October is the spooky month for spooky movies.
That's what Warner told them it's going to be.
I hate that what should be horror movies or actual horror movies are no longer appearing in the month of horror. It bothers me.
Also in September, we get a Resident Evil reboot. Sadly,
Yeah.
Mila Jovovich's husband can't just keep making movies about his hot wife. This disappoints me greatly.
Is that the deep dark secret? Is every film basically him going, "Hey, check out my wife"?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Practical Magic 2 is coming out. Do you remember Practical Magic?
No. Yes. No.
It was a movie with Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. They were witches, and they had a coming of age adventure. There's women in their 30s. Now they're women in their 50s or 60s.
Okay. The reason I wasn't sure at first was because I always confuse practical magic with The Craft, which is basically practical magic if they were teenagers.
Hmm?
And of course, The Craft was another of those films that is like a feminist linchpin for the Lilith cult, because magic is for women, no boys allowed.
In October, Tom Cruise has a movie called Digger. I don't have any additional information on that.
I've seen the trailer. It looks bizarre.
Which is appealing. Also in October, we have the Street Fighter movie, which is hilarious for several reasons. One of those reasons being Roman Reigns is playing Akuma. Cody Rhodes is playing Guile. Eric Andre is playing Don Savage. 50 Cent is playing Balrog. Jason Momoa is playing Blanca.
Yeah, I did see the trailer for this. It looks. I actually think it looks pretty game accurate. I will be interested to see if game accurate translates to good film.
I mean, video game movies have some good juice. Now, the lead actor in the movie, I really liked him in a Netflix series. The guy who's playing Ken. So I'm interested to see how he does. In November, we're getting a Cat in the Hat reboot. It's a new animated Cat in the Hat.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Well, I want to take a step back. Might be better. Okay.
I mean, the special effects in live action Cat in the Hat were not good.
Well, right, right, but there's another layer to how bad that film was. Okay,
Okay.
so let's talk about Dr. Seuss. Much beloved. I believe he was a Jew.
I think
I
so.
believe, yeah. Um, he made children's stories. He made really good children's stories. There's a strong anti-war component. Why? Because he had to make war office propaganda during the war. And a lot of people have used this as a take that to say that Dr. Seuss was some kind of bad guy because he made the propaganda. But the thing is that when he was in Germany,
Mhm.
you painted what the party told you to paint, or they killed you. They take you out behind the chemical sheds if they didn't just shoot you in the street. And then when he escaped to America, in order to ensure his loyalty, the Department of War said, you're gonna make the pictures we want, right? And he said, but I don't want to make those pictures. And they said, you're going to make those pictures, or we're going to deport you, right? So he made those pictures, and throughout his life thereafter, after the war, he made no secret about it. He despised that work. He went out of his way to try to put that work behind him. His family actively says it's like he did not like war. He did not like the industry of war. He did not like the military industrial complex. He did not like what they made him do. Right? This was a very gentle man made to make basically hateful propaganda against his will on pain of death and defamation. Right? This is a
Mhm.
horrible chapter in American history.
Mhm.
Who made some of the most wonderful children's fiction imaginable. So, if you recall, because I want to paint a picture for you there. You have the awful Mike Myers Cat in the Hat film.
Mhm.
There's me. There's my mom. There's my dad. We love Cat in the Hat. I grew up reading it. I've still got my Green Eggs and Ham, Cat in the Hat, One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, and All the Places You Will Go. I love All the Places You Will Go. Okay. Uh, we were watching this film as a family. The McKeever family gathered together to watch a movie. Like, this is actually an unusual thing. And if you don't recall, Alec Baldwin is the wife's new boyfriend who is threatening the children with military school if they do not behave. And there is this heavy, restrictive, pro military undercurrent in this content. But of course, Dr. Seuss was dead by this point, so he couldn't say no. He would have been upset. So you could just imagine him rolling in his grave. And then, of course, you have Mike Myers to be at the maximum Mike Myers, thinking that he is so much better than this movie and he doesn't need to do it for anything other than the paycheck. So he's going to basically shit on it by being in it. And his Cat in the Hat is vile. Like, this movie fundamentally misunderstood what Cat in the Hat was about and the fun it was supposed to be. And it was the worst thing that it ever made under Seuss's name until they made the Lorax movie.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's bad. It's fucking awful. And now you're telling me that some genius said, you know what? The obvious answer to making a bad Cat in the Hat movie is let's do it again,
But it's animated.
but it's animated, which is like, you know what? Because it's an animated feature, they might actually pull back from their worst possible impulses because it has to be for the kids because animation is for children. Just maybe. Then again, I have not watched the CGI Grinch with Benedict Cumberbatch, and I did not care for the Jim Carrey Grinch, which I have seen. If you are a Dr. Seuss fan and you like the Grinch, please go watch the one with the voice of Boris Karloff and the dulcet tones of Tennessee Ernie Ford. It is the goat. It is superior in all ways.
We get into November. You remember that Hunger Games prequel that was accidentally good?
No, because I've never seen a good Hunger Games.
It was accidentally good, and fucking Rachel Zellweger was accidentally good in this movie. They decided they're gonna make a sequel to that one.
Called The Hunger Games?
No, it's Hunger Games: Sunrise on the Reaping. It takes place 24 years before the original film. A young Hamish Abernathy, which, by the way, is I believe that's was Woody Harrelson's character from the original movies, known as the second quarter quell, which occurs every 25 years with a twist for the rules. For this quarter quell, each district of Panem must send twice the number of tributes to the capital, who will fight to the death in the Hunger Games. So it's Hunger Games. You remember the Fockers?
Yes. I remember the Folkers.
Well, what if there's a new Fockers movie?
I mean, De Niro's still alive. Ben Stiller is unfortunately still alive. Um, sure, they can make another Folkers movie if they want.
That's coming out. Now, the big movie in November that's going to be awful. So they're making a Narnia movie done by Greta Gerwig. And I've heard a lot of bad things. Making
Oh
some bad
yeah,
movie
no,
choices.
it's fucking cooked. It's done.
Um, they're also having at the same time they're having a biopic about John Madden, where I, I believe it's Nicolas Cage is going to play John Madden. Either that or Christian Bale plays John Madden, and Nicolas Cage plays the owner of the Oakland Raiders.
My preferred response to this idea is we cannot have the best actor to play John Madden because he has sadly passed.
You mean John Candy?
No, although John Candy would be great. No. Fillmore or Seymour Philip Dreyfus.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good choice.
Yeah.
Uh, in December, they're gonna do a Jumanji sequel the week before Avengers: Doomsday.
So, in other words, they have no faith in that movie's success, so they're going to shit can it as quickly and quietly as possible.
Yes. However, Dune Part 3 is more than willing to go up against Avengers: Doomsday.
Look, all I care about this is I did read the funniest fucking claim on Twitter. Did you read about Dune and androgyny?
I did not.
Someone asserted that androgyny was the secret to excellent science fiction, and then used photographs of Sigourney Weaver and the kid from the new Dune, the Paul Atreides.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver's not androgynous. What the fuck are they talking about?
Well, it's just a picture of her head in a helmet. It is an incredibly misleading picture. But then the follow through is that somehow androgyny is more meaningful in science fiction. That androgyny makes a science fiction piece, and it's like no, androgyny is entirely coincidental to science fiction and not a necessary component, and in some pieces might even harm the fiction. So maybe don't do that.
And we also end out December with Angry Birds 3 and a new Robert Eggers movie called Werewolf, about a 14th century werewolf incident in England.
Now that one I am actually looking forward to. I just really hope that he doesn't do something stupid like have them all speaking in actual French and use subtitles.
So, looking at the TV shows are not as easy to parse through as the movies.
Well, it's because TV is dead.
It is. But there's Wonder Man. We've talked about Wonder Man.
Well, let me justify that opinion because it's a one sentence justification. I don't think you'll have any problem with it. Um, TV is dead because TV shows are no longer shows. They are movies broken up into pieces.
Mhm.
And while I'm perfectly down with a 12 episode film, the fact of the matter is that until they realize that episodic television and release schedules on streaming it works better than this gastrointestinal distress where you gorge on a piece of media. They will continue to fail this. They will continue to think that movies can be TV. I'm not saying that TV cannot have movie level quality. I'm saying that movies as television shows is a bad idea. Yeah.
And sometime in next year, we're also going to get the Green Lantern TV show.
You mean Green Lanterns, plural?
Yeah, it's a buddy
Yeah.
cop where Hal Jordan trains John Stewart, and then Hal Jordan becomes Parallax.
Right, and it's extra funny because among the AstroTurf are race baiters flipping out because they're like, Green Lantern is not black. It's like, Green Lantern is a job. There are a lot of Green Lanterns. What the fuck is your problem?
Yeah, but let's kind of segue back to Wonder Man for a second.
You mean the character that was not black that has become black, that they then shit canned that show because they knew it was going to fail?
And it's failed. I mean, it's very similar to the Riri Williams thing. They didn't have a good idea, but they wanted to insert a character so it could be used later. So they're making a bad show, which will make no one want to see this character later.
Well, you and I talked about this in passing previously. My problem with it still is that they basically said, okay, what if we took Wonder Man and made him Booster Gold?
Well, Wonder Man was always Booster Gold, but he was Booster Gold first.
Right. But Booster Gold is actually more well known because Booster Gold has appeared in several animated features successfully.
But that's because Booster Gold had a much longer redemption arc story.
Right. You and I, in conversation, had the right of it, which is if you're going to do Wonder Man, you got to do the Masters of Evil.
Yeah.
Right. And if I recall correctly, isn't one of the Masters of Evil Baron Zemo?
Yes.
Right. Well, they've already introduced Baron Zemo, so now you're just talking about whether or not to introduce his peers, his fellow villains,
And they've introduced some of them already.
Which I want to point out, just because it's extra funny. Don't the extremists have a problem with the fascists? Do we not live in an age of extra sensitivity about how fascism is wrong?
They do, but they like fascist because he looked cool.
Well, yeah, but to the best of my knowledge, seriously, like, isn't Baron Zemo and his friends, aren't they literally classic super fascists?
Yes.
Because I want to be clear, I actually, in my youth, in the 80s, I had a Baron Zemo action figure. I don't now, but I did. And you know what I have never seen in any of the depictions of Baron Zemo across any of the Marveldom? Where is Baron Zemo's costume?
Exactly.
I want to see Baron Zemo in his mask. I'll even do you one better. Okay, they like the guy that played Baron Zemo because they think he's a cool actor and they don't want to defame him. Fine. Have a Zemo 2, have a replacement Zemo, and have him be the hyper fash that Baron Zemo should be. Get the Flag Smasher, get the hate monger.
Well, they already ruined Flag Smasher.
Well, yeah, but you could again have another one, right?
I personally would love it if they brought in Hate Monger.
Right, bring in the worst possible people, and then just ramp it up to 11. When and you can even have someone in setting go, aren't those costumes a little extra? It's like, dude, these are a bunch of super fascists with superpowers. They're not making good decisions.
I mean, they need to bring in Hate Monger, and they're gonna go, wait, you're telling me that guy's literally Hitler? Yeah, and I'm not meaning it ironically. I mean, he is literally Hitler.
Here's the thing. I'm gonna invoke a really bad show that was also a lot of fun. You can't live in a world where Danger 5 exists or
Mhm.
Kung Fury, and
Yeah.
then tell me that the audiences would not simply accept a clone of Hitler that is a super Hitler if you played it straight.
So, among the things that are going to be vomited out onto our television screens is Vision Quest. You remember in that shitty Scarlet Witch show that a clone of Vision came to exist?
Right, her vibrator woke up.
Yeah, yeah. And Ultron's come back for some reason. Paladin is being introduced.
Which one's Paladin?
He was the bounty hunter in the purple costume. Now,
I don't remember this
here's
character.
he was a fairly obscure character. He was in a lot of Spider-Man stuff
Okay.
and in some Captain America stuff, but do you know why he's called Paladin?
Reference to the TV show?
Yes.
Wow, I got that in one when I was actually not certain.
Yeah, yeah. So that's kind of odd to me. Uh, Vision and Wanda's imaginary children are going to be in this.
Okay, I gotta ask, how?
They were magicked into reality.
When?
Um, some of them were magicked into reality during the consequences of Multiverse of Madness somehow.
Why?
Because they want to put them in other TV shows so they can create a Young Avengers TV show or movie. Yeah.
All right,
Jocasta.
I gotta ask a serious question. I gotta ask a serious question, and this goes all the way back to comics. It is a serious question. What is the problem in media with having babies?
Well, they didn't have a problem originally, but what they did was they set them up that they were always implied to be magical so that they could wipe them out if they needed to.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. All right, serious talk for a minute. I'm gonna destroy WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness as they've been given right now. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'm even gonna and then I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna rebuild WandaVision in a positive way. Okay. That's right. We're gonna do some deep surgery on something that can't be fixed.
Okay.
You tell Wanda that because of the experiments and because of the torture that she had in her youth, she can't have children, and she believes it.
Right.
Okay, she believes it's true. You tell Vision, you're an android, you're a robot, you're not real, you're not a person, you can't be a father.
I
Okay?
mean, that's hurtful.
Right. But look, I mean, I'm just saying, this is your setup. This is your structure, okay? These two people love each other. They love each other on an emotional level, right? Because Vision is a good guy. He's an actual good guy who would never ever hurt Wanda, right? And Wanda, a damaged person, resonates with how isolated he feels being alone in a sea of humanity, right? And they were together. They both have experienced the loss of Pietro, who got fucking straight up murdered, right?
Hmm.
And somehow, unbeknownst to either of them, they don't know how to explain it. Somehow, she gets pregnant,
Hmm.
right? One
I mean,
in a million chance.
it's
Maybe
magic.
maybe the scientist lied to her. Maybe because Vision is an android, he's got some kind of like sperm approximate that is like nanite repaired her body. Maybe it's magic. Who the fuck knows, right? And then you have WandaVision. Well, how did WandaVision happen? Because Wanda is afraid. Wanda's afraid that the government's going to take her babies, right?
Hmm.
She's so terrified about being a parent that she's done this awful thing. She's subverted her husband's mind, and she's living out fantasies of what having the children might be like until she feels safe, and she has to be basically talked down from this because it's a horrible thing,
I mean,
right?
Joe, then they couldn't do the whole TV analog thing that was
But-
really clever.
But they could, because if she's making fanciful things that didn't happen, if the children are still imaginary children because they're what she projects her children might be, then her anxieties would be reflected in the changing nature of the setting as different TV shows, right? She believes that when her children start to become young adults, that they'll have a life like Malcolm in the Middle or Roseanne, because obviously the children are going to get snarky and defiant, because they do in TV, right? Like, this all makes sense,
Mhm.
right? And you can even have the fake Pietro show up. It's like, well, how did my brother who's dead show up? It's like, because I really wanted him to.
I mean,
Right.
he's going to show up now because of the multiverse.
Because of the multiverse, right? But here's the thing: the reason I'm laying this all down, right, is that all of this shit works if the kids are real, right?
Well, I mean,
Because
you can
because
still
none
deal
of
with fake kids.
because none of this works with the fake children. You don't imagine what I've lost. You didn't lose anything. You lost nothing. But I couldn't have children. You never could. You had 30 years of life to adapt to never having children. Then you had, what, 5 years, 10 years with a man you loved a lot, and he died? Guess what? That happened to everyone. A lot of people had that. That was literally the entire context of the Infinity War. Half of all life everywhere died, bitch! Right? And she's like, but I'm a villain, and Doc Strange is beloved. Doc Strange is alone. He had to give up his girlfriend. He had to give up his practice. He can't tell anyone the shit that he does. All right? He has paid a price as well. It's not the same price. It's not the price you think you're fucking owed, but he has paid. Being a hero sucks. You don't do it for the accolades. You do it because it's the right thing to do. Imagine that. No, I'm sorry. I don't care what the writer said. That writer is wrong. I want him to come here. I want him on our show. I want him in my house. I will scream it in his face. He's fucking wrong. Wanda was the villain. She was never a good person. She was never right. There's no empathy. Because those children don't exist. And if your plot is that my very confused, misunderstood character is going to go to another reality and murder someone and steal their children, that is not the act of a good person. That's not the act of a conflicted person. That's the act of a psychopath.
I mean, yeah.
So
And
this brings us back around to, why couldn't she just get pregnant? Why couldn't they just have children? Why couldn't it have been a penultimate accomplishment that they had the babies, fell in love with them, were raising them, and then you use that to introduce Wiccan, which is what this is all about, is we want to get our gay wizard character from the Exiles into, or the Runaways rather, into the Marvelverse. Not that anyone has ever given a shit about Wiccan! And don't tell me, oh, well, he's popular with a very select number of people, Joe. I get that, Larry. But that very select number of people were not enough for Wiccan to get his own book.
well, I mean, Wiccan also ends up becoming the consort for the Shi'ar and Skrull Empire.
Who gives a shit?
The Kree and Skrull Empire, excuse me.
Who gives a shit? He is a secondary character. He is a second-tier character. All right? Because as much as I might like the Kree and the Skrull, and I might be interested in the Shi'ar Empire, and I think we would all be really interested if the Guardians of the Galaxy actually dealt with some of the fucking aliens in the galaxy, right? The fact of
Mhm.
the matter is that if you ain't going to have the Shi'ar come to Earth for the actual Phoenix saga, and you ain't going to have the Kree and the Skrull actually doing a Kree and a Skrulling on Earth, what matters in the Marvelverse is what happens on Earth, which is if Wiccan's not there, he doesn't fucking matter. Oh, but
Yeah.
what about Cosmic Venom? Nobody cares. Well, what about Nova? Nobody fucking cares.
Hey. Nova is actually a fun concept that's done occasionally appropriately.
Nova is just the Green Lantern Corps with a helmet.
Yes.
And the
And
fact of the matter is that Nova doesn't have his own book. Nova often appears in other people's books, and it's a question of which run of Nova are you talking about, because Nova has never been successful. All right? The numbers are the thing. What sells? And as much as I don't like the idea that money is the indicator, the things that sell are the things that keep getting made. Right?
sure.
Spider-Man, people fucking care about.
I also forgot a show that was in January that's
Okay.
being dumped like a dumpster baby.
Okay.
Starfleet Academy.
Oh.
You know,
it's funny
you know
too
that
because I keep getting Strange New Worlds clips in my feed that I don't want.
mm, mm.
Like they're trying to sell me on new Star Trek. It's not gonna happen.
Well, look. There's gonna be a reboot of Star Trek, so it'll all be fine.
I mean, it's not, but I get it.
No, I mean it's a new production company, new management. They're gonna make new Star Trek.
We hope, we pray that that nature is healing.
But yeah, the problems with that show are the obvious ones. Nobody wants to see a sequel to Star Trek Discovery. Nobody
Nobody,
wanted to see Star Trek Discovery.
and quite frankly, while we're at it, Titty Jim Hadar was a non-starter. You've already failed.
Yeah, and she's not a full Jem'Hadar. She's a Jem'Hadar Klingon hybrid.
How?
Uh, they decided to let the Jem'Hadar have sex.
Can they?
I mean, the prophets have really good genetic engineering, Joe.
Sure, but here's the thing. The Jem'Hadar are a slave race. They were genetically built from the ground up to be a slave race, right? They live for war. They are slaves to the Ketracel White. Even if you resolve that, which is indeed what Alexander Siddig was working on, and credit to Bashir if he actually did it. I can believe that he actually found a way to deal with the Jem'Hadar's addiction. Um, they they don't sexually reproduce. They're born in labs. They come out of test
Right,
tubes.
right, but you could genetically engineer that, so it's fine.
But why would you though? Why would you
Uh,
ever do that?
look, it's 1,000 years in the Star Trek's future. They came
And
up with a reason.
yeah, but this is oh, okay. Look. Let's be reasonable. Let's be reasonable. So the Great Link is this eternal, ageless thing of shapeshifters, right?
Uh-huh.
Rene Ajabois is not dead because he's a shapeshifter. So Odo uh, convinced them to change their ways and be more humane. Fine. It's still an incredibly manipulative, intimately conservative, like censored monoculture type deal,
It's all
right?
about gaslighting.
Yeah, the founders not only would not make the something they would not make something they couldn't control, but even if they did loosen their restrictions on the whip, right? They would never make something that could turn on them. And there are multiple examples of the Jem'Hadar having slave uprisings and having been put down by other Jem'Hadar,
Yeah.
right? Even if you had a reasonable turn, again, they'd have to resolve that Ketracel White problem, because if you gave them things like downtime and said we're gonna let you go, right? All they would be like is, all I want is infinite drugs, because their loyalty isn't even to the founders, which is psychologically ingrained in them. It's to the drugs. They're loyal to their drugs.
We also have the Nicolas Cage Spider-Man TV show coming up next year.
The number of cares I do not give, the fucks I do not have.
They have a Darth Maul spin-off series.
Is it going to have the original Darth Maul guy? Because I heard that he was kind of a problem.
It's going to have the animated Darth Maul because it's part of the Filoniverse.
To be fair, that guy both seems to really know his Star Wars and is a big fanboy, so I'm open to that.
That's good. That's good. Hey, you remember the video game Golden Axe?
Yes.
That's going to be a show.
Really?
But it's listed under Comedy Central, so I'm concerned.
Fuck you, Gail Simone.
Well, I mean, we're gonna get to that.
Oh, I know. It's just that as I'm sitting here, she's just added another spin to the shit sandwich, to the growing pile.
So Joe, what do you think about the very low quality that's going to be our 2026?
As far as media, as far as television,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for surprises. That's my thing. There's everything that we have outlined is major releases. Everything we've outlined is something new coming to the deal. Also, Wibsabin came in late and he was asking if we were talking about Red Skull. No, we were talking about Baron Zemo. And they made him Hydra, which he technically always was, because Disney really didn't want to use the word Nazis. This is part of a broader cultural attempt to sort of evaporate the Nazi presence in America.
Well, that's actually a more interesting academic conversation.
Oh yeah.
But let's talk about Gail Simone. She opened up a conversation with, I don't understand people who don't like Cyclops.
Yeah, I'm sorry for segueing off into things. I happened to check. It's like, do we have any audience? And we do. We have one person watching. Woo!
Hooray!
Yeah. So yeah, Gail Simone.
So first, the obvious question is, what do you mean by don't like Cyclops?
Right. Well,
that's the obvious question.
Well, I'm gonna recite what I wrote. People are free to disagree with me. You can dig into it if you want. She asked, I don't understand people who don't like Cyclops. So I said, the X-Men have always had a high school soap opera cast of characters. Cyclops is the quarterback. Even if his character is more everyman, even if he has depth and struggle, to the reader, his basic thesis is decent, restrained rule follower. This contrasts with Wolverine, who is the leather jacket wearing bad boy who smokes, or did, who drinks, who defies social order. The outsider, the pretty redhead girlfriend, Jean Grey being a cheerleader who dates the quarterback, likes. The reader wants to be this guy. We want to be Wolverine. I've never met anyone that says, you know what I want to do? I want to follow the tax code and I want to own a house, and that's my aspiration. Everybody I've ever talked to about, if you could be anybody, who would you be? They said, I want to be the dude on a motorcycle, living free and doing badass shit. And I said, the result is, and this is in comics well before the 90s cartoon, well before the Fox movies, is that, well, everyone wants to be Wolverine. Eventually you grow up and become Cyclops, because nobody really likes Cyclops. This also, unfortunately, makes Jean a feckless character. Then in the Double Aughts, someone in the writer's room decided, A, Cyclops is cool, which is fine. B, Cyclops deserves a chance to prove it, which is fine. C. And we will bend canon over a desk and brutalize it until Cyclops is right. And one of these things is not like the other. The Cyclops era has wildly misunderstood the character of Scott Summers, destroyed the fundamental goodness of the character, and made him a villain, ruined his relationships, and reimagined him as a sad dependent who bounces from one psychic shot caller to the next.
Well, hey. The Plant Clone era made him be part of the throuple with Jean and Logan.
Excuse me, the technical term is polycule, and I will now go kill myself.
No. Polycule's when you get a fourth person involved.
Oh,
And I don't think Emma was actually involved in that. I think she had more class.
I mean, it would be a once for Emma. And somebody responded to me. Someone named Macross said, "Hey, I get the analogy, but it's not always about choosing the two men who are fighting to see whose dick is bigger. Some people hate both men." And I said, "Oh, sure. And sometimes you realize Jean is a trifling hoe that they're both better off without. I'm only alluding to the dynamic in writing, which modern comics seems to have misunderstood."
I mean, if you look at the original X-Men team, you have Scott, who's the quarterback. You have Hank, who's the jock who's actually smart.
Yep.
You have Bobby, who's the class clown. You have Warren Worthington, who's the rich kid.
The preppy.
And you have Jean, who's the girl one.
Yeah. So
I mean, that's how it was in the 60s.
Right. So Gail Simone later responded to some guy named Eustace, who said, in response to her, said, "Because you don't read the books, LMO, you're literally not supposed to like him." Right? And she said, "I write the books, compadre." To which Eustace said, "Corporate sanctioned fanfic is not canon," which is wrong, but we understand that. And she said, "I write X canon every day. Sorry you don't know how the publishing works." To which Eustace said, "Nope, you write slop every day. Canon is null and void once Marvel is sold decades ago." Which is just this is L following L. I can't say who's more wrong, but I do think that Gail Simone's being a complete bitch in this environment. Because she's appealing to her authority. She's saying, "I write X books, so I say what is good." And it's like, no, you don't. And then, in response to this, she said, they doubled down. So I want to be clear. My response, my reasoned response, talking about X people, was apparently doubling down in her mind. Right?
Hmm?
But that brings us to this most recent post, which is why I recently, randomly said, "Fuck you, Gail Simone." Someone named Cable FF7 said, "Married a woman because she looked like his dead fiance, literally thought she was a clone at one point. Tried to abandon his wife and newborn son to be an X-Men. Storm kicked his ass and sent him packing. Abandoned them again to get his ex-fiance." Right? Things Cyclops has done. To which Gail Simone said, "Agreed. There's some creepy stuff I tend to overlook, but almost all of the X-Men have some venom in their past. Sometimes creators really took it out on the characters themselves." Excuse me. So you don't understand why people don't like Cyclops, but you actively choose to ignore the things people don't like about Cyclops?
I mean, yeah. Because you're not the people who are important in her writing process. Her
Right.
friends who are the editors are.
Right. Well, she can eat my asshole. I really try not to call out comics people on the show as an individual level, because we still vaguely hope one day that I might actually get to be in the industry and make some funny books. Okay?
Hmm?
But I mean, come on, what the fuck am I supposed to do? How the fuck do I put a grin on and just be like, "Oh, Gail Simone has a fucking shit take from Coldsville because she's a dumb bitch"? No, she could fuck off. All right. The fact that she nepoed her way into the writer's room and then proceeded to shit around for multiple decades of books so that she could then
Oh,
tiptoe out.
she didn't Nepo her way in. She invented the fridging trope.
Right, and how many cocks did she suck on the way there?
Oh, 0. They were all afraid of being deemed anti-woman.
Oh, so what you're saying is that it's not that she sucked her way in, and it's not that she had talent, which would be acceptable. It's that she, in fact, browed people in with fear. She extorted people into giving her a job so that she could then act like she was holier than thou because I made it. That doesn't make you an empowered woman, Gail Simone. That makes you Will Wheaton.
Yeah. Yeah. You do.
I don't give a shit what Gail Simone says. If she can't have the honesty to say, you know what? I wrote the stories that I wrote. Some people like them, some people don't. I hope the people that like them enjoy them. And then just move the fuck on. If you are some kind of drama digging thunder cunt who's like, well, if you don't like my Cyclops, you're the problem, get fucked. I hope you fail. I hope you get broke. I hope you end up on the street with me because I'll be waiting for you there on the sidewalk being a crazy hobo. You know, there's a guy, I shit you not, he's in New York and he's like giving hobos machetes.
Yeah, I saw that
Yeah,
guy.
machetes, fucking vodka and cigarettes. And I assume it's a bit, you know, but I'm just saying, if you're a fucking rich asshole who thinks that your shit doesn't stink because you browbeat your way into a position where you can destroy our popular culture and pillage our folklore for your own gratification and then act like you're hot shit, yeah, I hope you lose it. I hope you lose everything, and I hope you end up on the street, and I hope you end up worried about the fact that there might be fuckers with machetes wandering around. I hope
Including
that deeply
weirdly,
concerns you.
an old Nickelodeon kid star was found being homeless.
Yeah. I mean, now that being said, Gail Simone, if you do me a favor and you encounter Andy Dick on the street and you kill him in Minecraft, I will forgive many things for you. Because he was also found on the street recently.
He was, but that was accidental.
Right.
So,
It's like the worst Where's Waldo is, can you find Andy Dick? It's like, no, I
because
don't want to.
if you find him, well, you find him.
Yeah, you didn't win anything. If anything, you kind of lost.
So,
But that serious question, because I don't know. Did that is that Nickelodeon kid still just on the street, or did they get him help once he was discovered?
he's in a hotel right now,
Okay.
and
I
they're
hope
trying
they can
to
help him
push
out.
him in help. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've revealed the plot of Kang Dynasty.
Wait, they're still doing it?
No, but they've revealed the plot so people can have closure.
Okay.
In this film, the TVA begins gathering anchor beings from across the multiverse, believing that they are the only ones powerful enough to defeat the Council of Kangs. Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield were anchors for their respective realities, while Tom Holland's Spider-Man served as anchor for 616. The movie was intended to be smaller in scope compared to Secret Wars. How exactly is the multiversal anchor?
Because
How's that
I don't
smaller?
think this leak is true. I think this is somebody's fan fiction being presented as reality. But
No,
carry on.
actually, this is consistent with several high-quality leaks.
Okay.
The movie was intended to be smaller in scope compared to Secret Wars, focusing more on Holland's Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and other anchors like Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. The plan was for all of them to ultimately fail, leading to the collapse of the multiverse and Kang's creation of Battleworld. This would then have set the stage for Avengers Secret Wars, where other MCU characters and additional multiverse figures would converge on Battleworld. I mean, I hate to say it's bad that Jonathan Majors abused his partner. That it's not bad that Jonathan Majors abused his partner, but I think everybody ended up dodging a bullet that movie wasn't made.
I mean, yes, but my problem is that there's a way to do this film that they should have done that indeed would have been better. That it will probably be better than however they're going to do Secret Wars now. That's going to tie into Doomsday. Have you heard this? I've heard this fan theory. I have this idea for how they should do Secret Wars.
How should they do it?
Okay, so everybody is doing their thing, and they're going to be ripped from their respective worlds by a powerful force called the Beyonder, and just dropped on Battle World. And then they get told that they must in fact fight to decide which is stronger, good or evil, for an experiment for the Beyonder. And then you just let them go. You just do that. You just have battle royale in space with superheroes for an all-powerful being. And you can have characters from across the films, including the glorious return of Fantastic Four's Galactus, who will try to consume the battle world. You know, you can have the Fantastic Four from First Steps. You can have the X-Men be revealed. Wow, the X-Men, we haven't seen them in the Marvelverse yet. You could have Spider-Man. And you could have Captain America, and you can have them guys, and it'd be a good story. I don't know. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before though, but I couldn't place it. But what do you think? Do you think that would work? I think that would work. I don't think you need Kang to make the battle world. I think you just have the Beyonder do it.
Hmm?
But I can't think of where I've seen that. It seems really familiar though.
Yeah.
Damn you, Larry!
I'm sorry. Just
you just don't want to pick. You can't bring yourself to pick up what I'm putting out there.
I mean, you're just saying we need to just do the comics straight, especially
Just do the comic.
Especially considering the fact that there's a very successful video game that's more or less doing the same plot from the comics, and DC has a very successful comics sub-series that's doing the Battle World plot.
Here's the thing. Here's like serious talk for a minute. I'm not being a shitter now. If you just did the actual plot of Secret Wars, right? Sure, pay the authors a fucking pittance, but just do it.
Well, no, the problem is that would mean they'd have to pay the estate of Jim Shooter.
Right. Which I don't want to do, but I'm saying just do it. Just take the hit. You're already going to spend $1 billion because you're going to make $3 billion when you're done. If you just did that, right, then at the end, any irregularities, any imprecisions in your setting, like introducing the X-Men, like how long have the X-Men been there? Why weren't the X-Men at the Avengers 1? Where what about the differences? What if we want to do a different Spider-Man? We're not going to do Tom Holland. Well, how did Iron Man come to be alive again? Any of those questions, the answer is just the Beyonder. And it's like, well, what did the Beyonder do? It's like the Beyonder reorganized things for his battle world. He didn't have to explain shit. He's the Beyonder.
Well, why does the Beyonder have crippled wheelchair Spider-Man, who's a woman?
I mean, it is a challenge to see, if which is stronger, good and evil. Why wouldn't you have good have a handicap?
How dare you?
Are you offended because that's accurate or because that's a really good pun?
That is a horrible dad joke.
And Ayrton was not here to get it. Church would kick me off the show.
He was not. Yeah, that's the thing in media. I watched the Puff Daddy documentary, and it was awful. Not awful as it was produced badly. It was awful because of what it revealed.
Did we talk about that before the show, or did we talk about that earlier in the show?
We talked about it earlier.
Okay, so we're not repeating ourselves. This was just something we talked. Okay, cool.
So it starts off with him as a young man. His dad was some sort of drug dealing scumbag, and his mom was strongly implied to be a prostitute, although they didn't say it outright. And it was not implied; it was outright stated that his mom physically abused him. And then he becomes a young man who's willing to do anything to succeed. So he starts sabotaging people, committing crimes, lots of rape, lots and lots of rape. But what's great about this documentary is whenever somebody says, yeah, and then he raped me, he puts them aside saying, so and so claimed this. Puff Daddy denied it. He refused our offer to make a comment. He's recently been convicted of this crime. Here's all the people who are trying to sue him in civil court. And then it moves on to the next scene. And all of this is connected to the legendary pettiness of 50 Cent, who had been gathering all this information, and then he paid a documentary filmmaker to make the documentary to drop as soon as Puffy was ready to go to jail. Puffy didn't pay his videographer when he was about to go to jail, and the second that those videos became eligible to be purchased, 50 Cent was there with a cashier's check for the guy who was the videographer. And one of the recurring themes of the story of Puff Daddy is he didn't pay his employees. So here's an important lesson for those of you in the audience. If you do want to be criminals, please don't. But if you do want to be criminals, it's important you pay your employees so they're less likely to betray you. This is a simple villain lesson that people should learn and should internalize. Pay your employees. But of course, he is in the music industry, so that is the industry that is the highest concentration of supervillains. And they said explicitly things that I understood implicitly, like, "Oh wow, look at how Puffy's in all of these videos with people that work for him. Yeah, he bills them for that, and he sings in the video. He bills them for that too, and he bills them for their studio time." He was just a awful person who drugged and raped people a lot. And then when his sons were old enough, they got involved in drugging and raping people too. Uh, I recommend you watch the documentary because it's well put together. It also really details Puff Daddy's rise through the music industry. But he's a terrible person. But you know who's not a terrible person? Eddie Murphy. You know,
I
you know,
mean, let's not go crazy, but I'll hear you out.
well, for example, one of the things Eddie does that's not about being a terrible person is, Red Fox, Eddie Murphy had to pay to bury him.
Hmm.
He had to pay to bury James Brown and Rick James because they didn't do their money right. He had to
Hmm.
get Buckwheat a gravestone. And he did that because he thought it was important that all of these people have that bit of dignity in their final resting place.
Hmm.
And Eddie Murphy didn't do drugs when he was famous. He did have a little problem with a transsexual hooker, but I mean, it's a thing that happens. Sometimes men like hookers, and sometimes those hookers have extra equipment. It's just the way things
It's
are.
it's frankly, it's none of my business.
Exactly. And Eddie talked about how he did all these iconic things, and he's done bad things, and he had done a whole range of things in his career, and he met all sorts of people. He told the story about his 21st birthday where Yul Brynner invited him to come back and party with him and his wife. And at 21, he didn't understand what that meant. And now looking back at that, it's like, oh, wait, Yul Brynner was asking me to go have sex with his wife while he watched and said, etc., etc., etc.
Okay. Okay. I want to be very clear because we like to make jokes and we're often pointing the
No,
finger at
that
like
was that was that was Eddie Murphy's joke. I was
no
repeating
no
Eddie Murphy's joke.
no I get that, but I just want to mention something. we like to make fun of like Will Smith for being a cuck and the like because Will Smith's a cuck.
Hmm.
I want to be very, very clear. Yul Brenner saying, "I want you to come back to my house to party with me and my wife," so that Yul Brenner can watch his wife get fucked by a 21-year-old Eddie Murphy. That is not the action of a cuck. That is the action of an absolute boss. That's like, "Hi, I'm Yul Brenner. I can have this beautiful woman anytime I want, but today I want to watch her get fucked." That's Yul
Yeah, yeah.
Brenner was a boss. Do not think we're implying that he was in the cuck chair by anything other than his own choice.
And also, she was younger than he was, as was the style of the time.
I mean, sure.
So, sometimes guys who are into that situation, they do let their girlfriends have access to some people who are younger.
Right.
And Eddie talked about his creative process, and this is actually part of a series of documentaries that Netflix has done that I really liked. Like, they had a documentary of Stallone talking about his career and how he got to where he was in Hollywood. And I learned a lot about Stallone in that documentary. Like how Stallone got his start in Hollywood because he was friends with Henry Winkler.
Right.
And why wasn't there a Stallone and Henry Winkler movie or TV show? I feel like that was a missed opportunity somewhere.
I mean, Henry Winkler was in a TV show.
But not with Stallone, I don't think.
No, no, I don't think so. But I mean, maybe I have to double check. Um, I even think he's still alive.
He is. Um, Also, the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary was really interesting.
Hmm.
Like Arnold Schwarzenegger got to train with one of his heroes, who was a
Hmm.
famous bodybuilder in the day, who did a Hercules movie, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger became a famous bodybuilder who did a Hercules movie,
Right.
and then his career, exceeded by leaps and bounds. I I think that's really a neat thing to be able to see insights about people. And in the Arnold documentary, one of the politicians in California said Arnold was as successful as he was as the governor because he didn't know how anything fucking worked. So since he didn't know how anything worked, he could just go around the system because he didn't know it was there.
Hmm.
Which
That
I think
that
was interesting.
that was it. Henry Winkler was on Parks and Rec.
Hmm. I mean, he's been on a lot of things, but I don't think Stallone was on Parks and Rec.
No, but I'm gonna check something here. I'm gonna cross check. I'm gonna zoom and enhance. Um, and I've got to specify Sylvester Stallone because Frank Stallone exists.
It's true. And Frank has done a lot of shit.
Frank has done a lot of shit, but I respect that. Like Frank Stallone was in a movie with Cameron Mitchell. You know, a couple of them actually.
Oh, so apparently they have a comics accurate Cyclops costume in Doomsday.
Which era of Cyclops?
90s.
Mm. Apparently, Henry Winkler and Sylvester Stallone were in a thing called Lords of Flatbush.
That was where they met, and he got his career started. But I mean, I think
Yeah,
peak Stallone and peak Henry Winkler. I think that could have been interesting.
yeah. I do. By my casual glance, that might actually have been the only time that they were on stage together at the same time.
That was actually a
Um,
movie, and it was like
mm. Although this does remind me, this random conversation. I really do need to check out Tulsa King,
I
which is
hear good things about it.
Stallone doing TV, and it's like Stallone doesn't do a lot of TV.
I mean, this is his swan song.
Mm.
So I mean, if you got to go out with a bang.
I suppose.
So, uh,
Of course, by that same token, uh, I recently had a conversation with someone, and they commented on liking a given show, and I was like, ugh. But then I said I can't judge because I like Oscar. Um,
Oscar was Oscar was kind of like Hudson Hawk, where you felt the energy.
that's the thing. It has to hit you just right, or it just doesn't hit. Because
And
here's the thing. I actually liked Hudson Hawk once. I didn't like it on second viewing. You know what I mean?
I like bits and pieces of Hudson Hawk.
Bits and pieces. Yeah.
Like Frank Langella, that's the guy who is the Italian coffee shop guy.
Yeah.
He and Bruce Willis, they had a really good chemistry in that movie.
I
Their characters made sense together.
I don't think it was Frank Langella, but I'll
Not
double
Frank
check.
Langella, it's a Frank,
Yeah.
some Italian guy named Frank. Um, they had a good chemistry together, and I liked the idea of guys pulling off a heist to old musical numbers.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was neat.
Uh, Danny Aiello.
Danny Aiello. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, as Tommy
I
Five Phone Messina.
yeah. Um, the guy who played the villain with Sandra Bernhardt, he was such a perfect British actor for that movie.
Richard Grant.
Yeah, he was perfect for the role. Sandra Bernhardt was terrible in the role.
Sandra Bernhardt was Sandra Bernhardt. That's the thing.
Yeah, yeah. She was there just to be a name. And,
I'm gonna say one of the most awful things I can say about a person. So God, this is dated. This is family lore. This is dark secrecy. It's like, why are you sharing this on the internet? It's because nobody cares. None of this matters. My old man had a collection of gentlemen's magazines. When he passed, I think my mom destroyed them all. I think she threw them out. Which is unfortunate, not because Joe's a weird fetishist who requires porn, but because some of those are probably worth money now. And one of them was Sandra Bernhardt's spread in Playboy.
oh yeah.
Sandra Bernhardt doesn't even make good porn.
I mean, her body has lots of unfortunate aspects to it.
Well, this was, to be fair, this was Sandra Bernhardt at her physical peak, right? She was not an unpleasant to look at woman, right? But quite frankly, in my opinion, because everybody's tastes are different, there is something about that face that I just find repellent.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think it actually has to do with personality. Like, I understand that people say, men are animals of simple vices. We have simple drives. We're very caveman. But like, no man, Kissinger was right. The biggest sex organ is the brain. Okay, and power helps. I don't know. She just seems like a very unpleasant person, and I am not attracted to her in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, like her attractiveness should not be a component as to whether or not she's capable. I just also think she's not ever shown herself to be particularly good in the acting sphere. She's apparently a halfway decent comedian for people who like that kind of comedy. The thing is that at the time when she was a comedian, given my druthers, I would have much preferred to watch Rhett Butler, Roseanne Barr, or Margaret Cho.
Well, I mean, of those comedians, all but one of them was on the Roseanne show at one point.
Right. But I'm just saying, like, I'm familiar with these women when they were comedians, and some of them were pretty good. Bernhardt was not one of them, Bernhardt always felt like she was trying to start a fight with me, which might be her brand. It's like the female Andrew Dice Clay.
But we're gonna wrap this show up, and I want to say
Okay.
next week I'm gonna give you my top list for TV and movies, and my bottom 5 list for 2025. Because I figure it wouldn't be fair to do that before the year's over.
I mean, there's that, and hopefully we'll have Church and Ayrton back, because that'll be the third. And they might still be hungover from the first.
Exactly. They'll have less excuse to not be here. Well, good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.